One of the most common questions I hear from women is, how do I stay in my body during sex? Hi, my name is Annette Bolsch, and my channel is Wise Women Sexuality, where I support women to stay in their pleasure and experiencing more in their sexuality than ever before. How do we stay in our bodies? Do you find yourself in your head during sex, either planning the shopping list or making appointments that you need to remind yourself of for the next week? Do you feel absolutely nothing in your body, and so there's not a lot of reason to be in your body? Do you find you're trying to make your orgasm happen, so you're in your mind trying to control your body and make it happen rather than actually experiencing it? Or do you find yourself not really comfortable to be in your body, so it's just like, okay, I'm going to go back up into my head because I'm not feeling that comfortable there? Or maybe you find yourself in your head because that's the best way you can get yourself off, by using a particular fantasy. I have to say that it is really, really common for us to find ourselves not in our bodies during sex. And often we don't even realize that we haven't been in our bodies until something happens, something shifts, and we kind of notice, oh, now I can feel myself. And then that's when we realize that we haven't been feeling ourselves beforehand. It's one of the reasons that as women, we can really like bad boys or people who have that kind of sexy energy, because it can actually trigger us into our own bodies to feel, even though it can turn out to be not such a good thing to be in relationship with them over the long term. Many different reasons why we're not in our bodies during sex, but most of them have to do with feeling unsafe, even if we don't actually recognize that we're not feeling safe. And sometimes this lack of safety can be related to us not actually being safe, not being with a partner that we can fully relax with, not being in a place where we feel like we have enough energy to really relax in, so we're kind of more on protection mode. It can be that we're not comfortable feeling what's actually going on in our bodies. It can also be that there is some belief, some negative belief that we're carrying about sex, which is stopping us from fully relaxing in and enjoying it. Things like, I'm too fat, I'm not good enough, if I have sex, I'm going to be some kind of a slut, I really need to be a good girl, otherwise I won't be approved of, I'm too old to be having sex. All these negative beliefs can really make our bodies seem like not such a good place to be. And sometimes we can have past experiences of not being safe in sex, and so our bodies remember that. So we'll be encouraged to actually be more in our heads and less aware of what's going in our bodies, because our bodies are saying, not safe, not safe. And it can also be that we've had past traumatic experiences that can be triggered, and literally we can leave our bodies and not even know that we've left until later on we realize what's happened. So in our bodies can be a protection mechanism, as well as it can be just a distraction from being in the boredom of being somewhere where nothing much is happening. And sometimes it can be purely because we've got into the habit of being in goal-orientated mechanical sex, where we're just trying to make something happen rather than letting ourselves go, letting ourselves trust and surrender into what actually is happening. We're really not comfortable with letting go of control. The benefits of being in your body in sex is that that's actually where the pleasure lives, where the bliss, the ecstasy, and the orgasms happen in our bodies, not just in our minds. And it can also be where our connection with our partner is. It can be where our connection with ourselves is. And it's really where our power lives. When we feel fully there, it's like, yes, we're switched on and really present with what's happening. And when we're in our bodies, we can also be open to intuitively gaining understandings of what's actually happening for us at a deeper level. So there are lots of positives about being in our bodies. So how do we actually know if we're in our bodies? How can we tell? And it's simply a matter of taking our awareness from thinking down to our bodies and observing what's actually happening there. What are the sensations? What are the feelings? What are the senses that it's not actually a feeling, but it's just a kind of a sense of where are we at? Where is our body at? What's actually happening for us? It can be as simple as asking ourselves, what am I feeling? Can I feel my toes? If I wiggle my butt, can I actually feel that? Does it enhance the sensation? Am I actually breathing? Just some of those little tips that can help us understand where our attention is, where our experience is. Here are some tips to actually get yourself into your body, and different ones will be relevant for different people and different ones relevant at different times. So if it's simply a matter of you noticing that you're in your head and you're not really connected to your body, it can be as simple as just taking some deeper breaths and bringing your awareness down into your body and noticing the sensations that might be present there. And the next important key is to not judge in a negative way what's actually happening when you do go into your bodies. If it feels like there is nothing happening, just make that okay. See if you can find some level of acceptance and be gentle with that, because that will allow your body to shift into something more enjoyable, more delicious than if you go into a judgment of, oh, there's nothing happening and I'm not doing it right, or it's never going to happen, all of those parts that we go into. If you're still finding that your mind is really busy and you're unable to switch it off, there's something that I find can really work for me. And it's imagining, as I inhale, I'm imagining cotton wool appearing in my brain. And every time I inhale, that cotton wool gets thicker and thicker and thicker. And it's like you're using this visual image to actually turn off the mental thoughts. And after a little while, your mental thoughts can just give up, because you're focusing on that visual more fully. And that's just giving your mind a distraction, something to focus on rather than the thoughts. Then you can also use focusing on the sensations in your body and breathing into them to see if they will change or stay the same. You can start moving your body a little. You can start making sounds, and even just making a few sounds can help you start to connect more with your body. It's not about expressing your pleasure, because maybe the pleasure isn't there, but it's about expressing whatever is there. It's allowing yourself to let go of any judgments, negative judgments about yourself or your body, because particularly as women, we can be really hard on our bodies. We can judge them negatively so easily. And yet it's one of the ways that we minimize the capacity of pleasure that we have. It's actually taking our presence away from our body and focusing it on the mind in a negative way. So being gentle with yourself if you find yourself doing that, and seeing if you can just let that thought go, think a more positive thought, or just let the thoughts go altogether. Thinking something positive like, I am beautiful, I am so sexy, I can really enjoy myself in my pleasure. Some thoughts like that can really just start to change your experience, even if it's not exactly true when you first start. You can work more consciously with your breath and start exhaling for longer than you inhale. And if you don't particularly want to get into counting the breaths, you can just experience yourself exhaling just for a little bit longer than you inhale. And that works on your nervous system to help you bring you into a state of relaxation. You might be resisting feeling. Sometimes, quite often, we can have an emotional experience that's wanting to be felt. And because we can have judgment about how that's not a good thing, we should be feeling sexy in sex, not feeling scared or angry or sad. And we actually shut that feeling down. But when we shut the emotion down, which is a form of energy, we also shut the pleasure down, which is another form of energy. So see if you can give yourself permission to feel what's there, and even just naming it with your partner, making sure that you own that it's your feeling, nothing to do with them, and just ask your body, does it feel safe? Does it feel safe enough to allow you to be there? Just place a hand on your body somewhere, maybe on your heart or your belly, and just feel that warmth of your hand on your body and breathe into that part. That can sometimes create a sense of safety enough to allow yourself to be in your body more fully. Or sometimes being in your body might literally not be a good place to be. And so you can start to make that a conscious experience by just opening your eyes and looking around you and noticing things in the room. It might be things that you can see, might be things that you can hear outside of your body, might be things that you can feel outside of your body. So it just allows you to find that safety outside of yourself. And then when you feel ready, you can come back and see if you can connect inside of yourself with your breath or your awareness on your sensations. This is particularly relevant if you've had trauma experiences in the past. Sometimes it's not a very safe place to be, and you need to actually work with a therapist or a somatic therapist to actually find a place of safety in your body. Or the other thing that you can also do is to experience a safe place in your mind. So this can be a good place to have ready if this is an issue for you. It's a good place to have ready in your mind as a go-to when your feeling of unsafety comes up. Imagine a really beautiful, safe place, the safest place you can imagine being. And just flesh out the details of that in your mind's eye. What are you seeing? What are you feeling? What are you hearing, tasting, and smelling? Because then you're actually bringing in all of the 5 senses of your reality that actually takes that feeling of safety into a deeper level. And then once you feel safe again, you can start to come back into your body. You can also create safety with your partner if you're in a position to have a conversation with them about what's happening for you in your sexual experience. Again, making it not about them, because largely it often isn't about them, but just owning that this is what's happening for you and you're wanting to name it just to kind of make it more real and to validate your experience, because the more you can validate it, the more you're going to create opportunities to move past it. Sex or making love, just challenge yourself to notice how much are you in your body. Can you feel the sensations in your toes, in your fingers, in your chest, in your belly, in your genitals? What's actually happening there? And go on a bit of an exploration, because it's a very exciting, worthwhile place to be. It contains so much magic and so much power and connection. It's really worth trying some of these little tools and tips to make it a more embodied experience for you when you're being sexual, whether it's by yourself or with someone else. And if you liked my video, I'd love you to subscribe so that this can allow more women to turning on to themselves.